Hey, this is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, coming to you today, Sunday, September 29th, 2024, post-Hurricane Helene, which hit us hard, but went on to hit more parts of the country much harder than us. There's so much flooding and devastation north of us. It was awful. And my sister asked me, well, what do you do during a hurricane? Well, this is what I do. I love short story science fiction, and I've been getting this magazine for about 40 years, fantasy and science fiction. You got novellas, novelettes, short stories, features, cartoon poems. So when the power went out, this is what I read. And this is what I listen to because I have a battery operated CD player. I get BBC Music Magazine, and it comes every month with this CD. So you get exposed to a lot of different styles of classical music, and this I particularly like. I'm in my Japanese mode. I watch a lot of on YouTube. I watch a lot of channels about life in Japan. There are 3 programs on public television here in Florida about life in Japan, half-hour shows that show up every week. And I listen to this. It's very relaxing. And I am going to switch so you can see me. So that's what I spent my time with. We're only out of power 15 hours. Quite a bit of that I slept. I didn't sleep soundly. My cat, I have awnings that have little slats in them, and when the wind blows on them, it comes out like music. If you've ever watched Midsummer Murders, they have this music that is made by rubbing glass. Well, that's what it sounded like. And my cat flipped out, jumping over the couch, over the kitchen table, up onto the washer, up onto the dryer, back again, in one bedroom, in the other bedroom. He was going crazy. He was a show in himself. But it was too dark in the house with the awnings down and no power to get a video of it. I would have put it up for you. You would have enjoyed it. So that's pretty much, most of what I did for the hurricane was the prep. Getting, I love the porch. I love the nice sunsets. So I set up, my phone, my cameras, music out here, and I had to get all that in. And despite all my best attempts to secure everything else I couldn't take in the house, double bagging it in big garbage bags, that hurricane water that is horizontal can get in anything, and it did. And some of this stuff, it's not ruined. I got it spread out over the washer and dryer, and a fan blowing on it, hoping that I can dry it out. One thing I do is write a lot. I document so much of my life to paper. I have volumes and volumes and volumes of notebooks. So probably on the autistic spectrum, but hey, it works for me. Keeps me out of trouble. And yeah, I love science fiction. I'm reading The Expanse. It's 8 or 10 volumes of a book. They're not short stories. This is a whole life, and that's good because I like to be immersed in a story. In fact, I hate to see them end when I'm really, really into it. But I also like, when I was a kid, I was 17, I got my first lifeguard job. And I was still getting this magazine. It was thinner then because they published monthly and mailed them out. Now they've gone to quarterly mailing. you get the same amount of stories, same amount of pages, but it, they're on a very tight margin. Anybody that is involved in print media, so I would take that. I had to take a bus. I didn't have a car. My parents wouldn't even let me get a license till I could do it when I was 18, but not at 16. I was graduating from I turned 17 in April, and then I graduated from high school the next month. And they said no, unless you can pay for your insurance. And insurance for a 17-year-old was beyond my earning capacity. So I went to the University of Rhode Island, and I could walk everywhere. They had movies for us at different churches around the campus and in the campus, and lots of student activities. At that time they had dances. I don't think they could have them now. But yeah, it was a good time. I didn't have to go anywhere. They had Ruth stores. You could, well, one thing was you could get your shirt ironed and pressed and boxed. You don't see them boxed too much anymore. For 15 cents. So you could always have a shop-looking shirt on. Now people wear pajamas, so it doesn't make any difference now, but then you try to look good. And I joined the science fiction club down there. But as I was saying, I had to take a bus to go to my lifeguard job, and luckily the buses started at 5:30, and I think I got a 6:30 bus, went into Central Providence, and I would do a transfer and then go to where my job was. And I always had a science fiction magazine with me because I could read one of the stories during the bus ride, and it made the time, and it wasn't boring getting there. And yeah, that's how I developed that interest, and I got to know all the authors. And 1970 or 71, they had the world's first fantasy awards, and they had them in Providence in honor of H.P. Lovecraft. And I was a big H.P. Lovecraft fan, and so I went to that convention, the first, and they had a lot of events at one of the colleges there. I volunteered. I got to be with many of the authors as they drove around the city explaining things. And yeah, it was a good time. I got to know the classic guys, I got to know Holland Ellison, Frederick Pohl. I always wanted to meet Asimov, but he was more a hard science fiction writer. He wasn't too much into the fantasy. Trying to think of the other ones. Well, so I just wanted to let you know what I did when I was stuck in the house and the wind was 80, 90 miles an hour and the rain was coming horizontal. I sat down and read books. I had candlelight. I've got old Victorian candle holders, with the glass around them, so they throw plenty of light. And so I didn't miss the light. I had stuff prepared for all the meals. I had like a can of 3-bean salad that I had cold. I love that stuff. It's probably a lot of salt and not good for me, but hey, during a hurricane, I had made boiled eggs. So, say for one full day I went without anything cooked. I have cold cuts and a little cheese, and that was fine for me. That was like camping with my dad back in the 60s. Really roughing it, and I loved it. And so this particular issue is the summer of 2024, and let me look in it. There are 3 novelettes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 short stories, 4 poems. Then they have their regular recurring departments. The editor's remarks, books, films, and now they've got a competition called number 106, and those are interesting. I know in the Alfred Hitchcock magazines, they'll take a picture and you've got to write a story under 300 words about the picture, something to do with crime. And I won once. One time I won, many years ago. And so I'm just checking in after the hurricane. I'm going to church at 10:30, and I'll be back in the afternoon and think of something. I'd like the voxunius, the voice of one man. That's what I'm putting this under, and I'd like to do more about what's going on, and it'll get to be a much more interesting time down here in Citrus County and in my town of Homosassa, because during the summer it's so hot, so there aren't that many festivals. But the end of this month, I think there's going to be a manatee festival, a lobster festival, a lot of road races as it cools down. It's very hard to hold a 5K road race when it's 91, 92, and the humidity is up to 80. So it's a very much more interesting place, and the manatees come back. When the Gulf gets warm, it gets up to 90. The manatees take their babies, which they have in the rivers right across the street from me. They raise them out in the water, the Gulf, and then when the temperatures go lower, they come back. I don't think they have babies every year. I think like every 3 years. The little manatees stay with their mom for quite a long time. They're very social beings, and they're vegetarians, so they don't eat anything, and they eat all the grass under the water. And sometimes when there's a shortage of that, the local stores give all their lettuce and stuff that they don't sell, and they just dump it in there, and you can see them there like you were at a port in Miami and you threw a cut up fish in, and all the channel fish come up and get it. But they're mammals, they're not fish, they're mammals, and they have their little babies and they feed their babies, and it's something beautiful to see. They have a whole area right up the street from me where they take care of manatees that can no longer go out in the wild. Some of them that have been hurt by say motor blades or something like that and need rehabilitation, and then after the rehabilitation they take care of them for their life, and they're beautiful to see. They have an underwater observatory at this park right by me. You go down the steps into it and you can see them swimming around with their babies, and it's something to see. I've been there many times, and it's really nice. It's the most visited state park in Florida. Loads and loads of kids. You go to the manatee area, you get in a flatboat, and they take you out there. And I know if I had seen that when I was a kid, I would have loved it. It comes from the old Ivan Torres studio owned the land, and they trained all their animals and stuff there. In fact, there's a hippo there named Lou, short for Lucifer. He's about 64 now, the oldest living one they know of. And his parents were on one of Ivan Tor's television shows, and they just kept him there. He became a citizen of Florida because you can only show native species to Florida at that park, and they made him a citizen. So I went to his 60th birthday, 61st, and he's really getting older. He's starting to show his age. So, well, have a good day. I'm on my way to church. I got to get dressed a little more conservatively, and I'll be seeing you again really soon.